You're watching Kenosha Community Media.
Good evening for WGTD 91.1 FM and KenoshaTV to the Candidates Forum for the Aldermanic elections here in the city of Kenosha, which are coming up on Tuesday, April 1st. The format will be very simple tonight for the contested races. For the Aldermanic candidates, both candidates will appear, or one of the two candidates will appear depending on their personal schedules. We will have a sort of a mini debate for those where both candidates are present, and for the others where just one candidate is present, it'll be more of an interview with myself asking the questions, and there may be questions forwarded from the listening audience. We're streaming live on the internet, and this program will be televised on Kenosha Media, Channel 14, Saturday at 7 p.m. It'll be televised also Sunday at 2 p.m. And it will be available online at the KenoshaTV website. That's www.kenoshamedia.org. You will also be able to listen to this broadcast on the internet at the WGTD.org site. It will also be edited down to a 45-minute program, which will be aired Saturday, March 29th at 11:15 a.m. on My Community Matters program. That will follow Education Matters, which will be a live school board forum, which I'm sure you won't want to miss. We're going to begin with opening one-minute statements by each of the two candidates. We're starting with District 2. We're going to take the districts in ascending order. We have both candidates here from District 2, Rhonda Jenkins and David Hallman. I'm going to begin by asking Rhonda for a one-minute opening statement. Rhonda, welcome.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a very service-oriented individual. I served my country as a United States Marine for 4 years and came back home and decided to start volunteering as an emergency medical technician at a department here in the city, as well as volunteering as a firefighter in the county. So I've been volunteering for Kenosha for about 20 years. And I look at the council as another opportunity for me to serve my community as an advocate for the people of the 2nd District. I currently work as a safety analyst at S.C. Johnson. I've been there for 16 years. And I think to be an effective advocate, I need to have leadership skills, technical skills, and personal skills. And I think with all of my experience, I have the nice balance to be able to do that.
Thank you. Mr. Hallman.
Good evening, Len. I've been in this community since about 2003. I'm a member of Grace Lutheran Church. I chair the Worship and Music Committee, so I'm quite busy there. I've also been on the Kenosha County Board of Supervisors since 2008. I've chaired a special committee on technology. Currently, I chair the Human Services Committee. Put in place the mortgage foreclosure program for both Racine and Kenosha counties that saved 88 families from being foreclosed on and $1.7 million in tax dollars. And being on the city council is exciting. There are things that I've tried to propose to work with the city on before, and they have not come into fruition as I would like. That would have helped not just the 2nd District, but all of Kenosha. So this is a chance to get things moving and make us look current and modern.
Thank you. My first question is going to be one of my favorites in the aldermanic elections, and that is what's going on in your district that you hope to represent? What are your plans for improvement of your district or elimination of any problems? And we'll begin with Mr. Hallman.
There's a number of things. It's quite a mouthful to start with. One of the things that I'm a huge advocate for is Wi-Fi. There's been a proposal put forward to work with the county, where the county would pay for the infrastructure, the city would pay for the operating costs. There's been some debate about how to do that, and that's stalled. I want to get that going. One of the things that people in the district have expressed is that they want to be a destination point. They want people to talk about downtown and to be attractive to people. And Wi-Fi is one of the ways that we can do that, as well as improving our streetscape, which has been in our downtown redevelopment plan, dealing with some of our vacant and blighted buildings, which on a case-by-case situation will have to be looked at. So there's a number of things there to work on.
Ms. Jenkins.
I certainly don't disagree that those are nice things to have in our district. We actually do currently have a small version of the free Wi-Fi going right now that would be free to the customers in the area, but not necessarily the businesses who are implementing it. And but right now, I think we need to focus just a bit more on things like the road. I mean, the roads out there. We could actually lose a Mini Cooper in some of those potholes, I think. So I'd really like to work with the Public Works Director and see if we couldn't identify some more of the roads and get those on a priority list and get capital improvement money for that kind of thing. That's only one of my issues, but I don't want to take up too much time if I don't have.
Bring up another one.
All right, emergency services. That's really what threw me in. I had seen the request to do an ambulance over at Med 6, and when they said, no, let's do a $50,000 study, I said, you're kidding me. Working as a firefighter out in the county, I off the top of my head, had some numbers, and I thought, wow, we really don't need a $50,000 study, but let's move forward and make our city safer. We've expanded over 5 years as far as people go in the community, but we really haven't added additional firefighters. We've replaced firefighters, but not added.
Mr. Hallman, you want to fight that fire?
A little bit. Everybody wants to do something about streets and fill potholes. But budgets have a way of sometimes crashing our dreams and our aspirations and bringing them down to reality. We can do that, certainly, but we're going to have to be a little more strategic and look in other areas to get funds from the state and the feds to try to supplement that which we cannot do for ourselves in the terms of roads.
Well, there's always the question in these aldermanic elections about how well you get along with the mayor, how well you respect what the mayor's initiatives are, and how well you're going to work with the mayor. So, what's your report card on the mayor? Ms. Jenkins, A through F. And why?
Wow, I didn't know I was going to have to give him a letter. Okay, we'll go with a B. How's that? I'm not going. No one can deny the fact that there's been several new businesses coming into town. He's gotten us on the Main Street program, which is great because we're going to get some free technical advice to be able to actually implement the downtown strategic plan through that. So obviously, he's moving us forward. I would like to see a little bit more communication with the council. It seems like, unless you just really aren't noticing it, there seems to be some issues between the councils. So, and the mayor, just the communications needs a little bit of work. But other than that, I think we're good to go.
Mr. Hellman, what's your report card for the mayor?
I think he gets an A for having the smallest ego in the room in those council meetings. When it comes to working with the mayor, I've talked to him over the years, and he's always willing to sit down and hear my ideas. One of the things that I think we need to change in this community is the perspective that is only the job of the mayor or the county executive to quote-unquote lead. That's certainly not the case. My background in music has taught me that a person can lead from anywhere. You don't have to be the conductor. You can be at the back of the orchestra and still move things forward. So it would be nice maybe to see a directive from council to the mayor to administration to say, let's look at our business permitting process and try to fix that, since that seems to be something that many people in the community have expressed wanting to have something improved upon, but has not happened yet.
Endorsements are an important part of every election, and the Kenosha Labor has endorsed you, Mr. Hallman. The Kenosha News has endorsed you, Ms. Jenkins. Mr. Hallman, tell us about your endorsements and how you feel about that.
I've been endorsed by the Labor Council as well as Fair Wisconsin. They've looked at my voting record over the years. They've looked at where I stand on the issues, and they support me, and I support them. I think it's important when we talk about organized labor to recognize that working people is really everybody who's working. It's not just whether or not you're a member of a union.
Ms. Jenkins, how about you? What are your endorsements, and how do you feel about the endorsements you have and haven't received?
As you just mentioned, obviously, I got the Kenosha News endorsement, which thank you very much. I also got the Police Department Board of Directors endorsement, as well as the Firefighters Union endorsement, and Realtors endorsement, and I do have another one. my brain is not quite thinking, but I'm excited about it. I understand completely why the union went ahead and endorsed Mr. Holman there, because they had previously done so. And but I'm very excited to be able to help out the firefighters and the police officers and all those kinds of things. So I'm new to this whole endorsement thing, so I was very excited to have the endorsements.
Now, economic revitalization is one of my favorite issues for southeastern Wisconsin. I wonder if either of you can tell us what you would like to plan for the economic revitalization of the city and perhaps your district in particular. How will you participate and make sure that we do all we can to improve the business climate and improve employment here in Kenosha? Ms. Jenkins?
I think really the downtown strategic plan is really focused on that concept. If we can get in and take care of our abandoned buildings over there and get some more businesses, if we can get population downtown, get more people, will get us more business, more tax base. I really think if we stick to getting focused on this plan and getting it rolled out, because we're in phase 2 now, and I think we just need to push forward, and that's going to get us where we need to go.
Mr. Hellman, how are you going to help us improve the business climate and employment?
I agree with Ms. Jenkins and everything that she stated, but I think there's some things on the periphery that have to be addressed. We haven't been as aggressive city side about dealing with the blighted homes from the foreclosure crisis. That's something that can help beautify neighborhoods, raise property values, and make the area more attractive. One of the things that we really haven't made progress on in this community is our involvement with technology. There are other local governments that have done things around tech that have been attractive to young people and involved the community in various types of ways, and it would be nice for us to do some of that. It would make us look trendy and modern and fresh, which I think we really need right now.
We've heard a lot of talk for the last 2-3 years about extending the streetcar or putting in a new streetcar route in downtown and the Lakeshore area. Mr. Homan, where do you stand on streetcar expansion and why?
I support doing it. I understand the purpose behind it. One of the things that I would say is I know that the city, the mayor in particular, has said that he wants to look at re-engineering the routes to bring down costs, which I think is smart, do things within budgetary limits. But if we're going to go that route, then I would say the portion that is 80% federal money, set that aside and come back to it, because if we were going to do it, we'd have to break ground now to do the streetcar. And our businesses have expressed that they do not want to have mass construction during their peak season. So we can come back to it, but take that 20%, do the Wi-Fi for all of downtown, and then resume with the streetcar at a later date.
Your solution, Ms. Jenkins.
We've already obviously budgeted the $2 million that we have to give to the project. With that said, we currently don't have a streetcar route that is within budget, as he previously mentioned. I believe we obviously have to have one that's in budget before we could vote on it. And I have also heard the same things, that our business people don't want it during the prime time. But we will lose the grant money if we do not spend it by, I think it's 2016. Please don't quote me on that. It might be 2015. But we either have to use it or lose it, but we can't use it unless we have an appropriate route that's fiscally responsible.
Another common topic lately has been the Ethics Committee of the City Council. We've heard good news, bad news, no news sometimes. What's your feeling about the success and the status of the Ethics Committee? Ms. Jenkins?
Well, I would like to say we certainly need someone. We don't need the fox watching the hen house, so we certainly need some kind of committee to help us out with our issues. But I'm struggling. We constantly are getting in the news for the craziest things, so I just wish we didn't have to have one. But I'd like to see a little better focus on the Ethics Committee.
Mr. Hellman, where do you stand on the Ethics Committee? How do you evaluate it?
I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. It seems that its inception was really politically motivated, and it hasn't worked out well. I said once that this is the greatest show on earth that you don't need to buy a ticket to see. It might be something that we could do away with. We have other ways of dealing with ethics issues, because this is clearly not working out well.
One more quick question. What would you do to make sure that council members try to get along with each other, and what would you do personally? Mr. Hellman?
Speak nicely to one another. Don't do things simply because you want to be political about it. Do things based out of conviction. That means that you have to be consistent. Those are really the things that build trust. You don't want to do things that breed distrust, that breed dishonesty. That's the problem. And check your ego. Check your ego. Remember, it's not about you. It's about the issue and solving the problem.
Ms. Jenkins?
I would agree that obviously respecting each other as human beings in general is a wonderful thing. And I think that if we started reaching out to each other, if there's an issue that's going to help the city as a whole, you should really try to reach out to all of the aldermen, maybe even one-on-one. I noticed that sometimes we're not doing that. The ambulance, possibly maybe had we reached out and gotten a little more agreement beforehand, it wouldn't have gone quite so very staunchly this or that. You've got to learn how to reach out, and you've got to get past your personal issues.
Thank you. Those are our candidates for the 2nd District, Rhonda Jenkins and David Hallman. For the 4th Aldermanic District, the candidates are Steve Mitchell, who is here. Hi, Steve.
Hello.
And G. John Ruffalo, who could not be with us tonight. So we're going to start with asking Mr. Mitchell to make a 1-minute opening statement. Go.
Hi, I'm Steve Mitchell. I'm born and raised in Kenosha. I lived here all my life except for the 7 years that I served our country during the Vietnam era in the Army. Been a business owner for the last 20 years, respected by the police department, the fire department, health department, and everybody around me. I decided to get into this race because I thought it was time for new leadership in this city. There's a lot of infighting going on in the city hall, and I think I can bring my leadership skills and my business acumen to try and make things a little different and try to get people to work together.
Thank you. Now, let's turn to the district and any problems you see in the district, things you'd like to improve, problems you'd like to eliminate. Maybe you could give us some specifics on how you would carry on for the benefit of your constituents in the coming year or two?
Absolutely. After walking the entire district myself, and my feet are killing me from doing it, but it made a big difference to get out there and get the chance to meet people and actually talk to them. With some of the meet and greets I've had, things that have been brought to mind, and something that I've supported all along is more emergency services on the north side, getting a rescue squad into Station 6. People that I've spoke to would also like to get a little more police presence. And as everywhere in the city and anywhere in Wisconsin in this climate, of course, roads are always a big issue. But one thing that comes to mind after talking to some elderly people on the north side at a meet and greet, one of their concerns was on 18th Street, where they would like to have a marked walkway from bus stop to bus stop. There's a lot of people there that are in walkers and in the little motorized scooters. They're having a difficult time getting across 18th Street because of the speed limit. They'd like to see that lowered down. These are the kind of things that I'd like to look at and try and get changed to help out the people on the north side.
Thank you. Mayor Bosman has taken a lot of criticism and gotten a lot of praise in the last couple of years. What's your report card on the mayor, Steve?
Well, first of all, if he saw me on TV last night, I need to retract the things that I said about the poor guy. Maybe spoke a little too soon. I have met Mr. Bosman. As a matter of fact, one time going into City Hall, he held a door for me and told me he makes more money doing that than being the mayor. I give the man a lot of credit for having to be the captain of the ship, especially looking at the type of crew members that he has to work with their inflated egos at times, thinking more about who's going to win this argument rather than thinking about the people that they're trying to fight for. So as far as a grade would go, I'll have to give him a B.
Thank you. Now, in terms of the endorsements, the Kenosha News has endorsed G. John Ruffalo, and so has the labor paper. What's your response to that?
I don't have a problem with that. The only endorsement I'm looking for is the constituents of the 4th District. And the article in the paper endorsing Mr. Ruffalo is kind of wishy-washy if you read it. They start out by saying something nice about the man, and then they say some things that aren't good about the man, and then they say something nice about me, but nevertheless, they went with him. So I really don't care about the endorsements. I sat in on a few interviews. I felt right away that I wasn't going to get endorsed. I was pushed through the firefighters interview, but I'm the type of person, I'll sit through it. I got invited. I got the opportunity, but I just want the endorsement of the people of the 4th District.
With respect to economic revitalization of the city and your district in particular, the 4th District, what are your ideas, suggestions? What would you do to help improve the economy and get more people to work?
In the
Mr. Mitchell?
district or in the entire city?
All of the above.
Well, the district looks pretty good. We're very fortunate in the district we have. We don't have a lot of blighted homes, blighted businesses. But then my eye turns to the downtown area. I've seen a lot of revitalization going on down there, new businesses coming in. And I think we need to encourage more people to come in, give them some tax breaks, work with the landlords down there that have the empty fronts, and try to get the people in to open up new little businesses. There are some blighted buildings down there that really need to be looked at. I know there's ordinances out there where they send out inspectors every year to different areas of the town, and they look at people's homes. And I'm a landlord, so I have properties in different parts of the city, so I get nailed all the time. Well, you got to paint this, or you got to fix this window. They have ordinances like that for us, but I think they need to get a little tighter ordinance going on the blighted buildings and the building owners that buy them, and just sit on them. It's terrible to see the buildings turning into such disrepair. The Penny's building, I remember going there all the time. There's a big hole in the roof, beautiful Art Deco facade outside, but the people that own it don't really care. I think we need to address that and come up with some ordinances to make these people do something instead of just the little fines that they get. It's a token fine, and I don't think it's enough.
With respect to the streetcar controversy of extending or putting in a new route, where do you come down on that, Mr. Mitchell, and why?
My personal feeling is I think we've got enough streetcar. After talking to the people of the 4th District and people all over the city of Kenosha, I haven't met but maybe a handful of people that want this trolley extension put in. As a matter of fact, they refer to the one we have as, we've all heard, the trolley to nowhere. But the trolley to nowhere that they refer to, I think, is a great addition to our beautiful lakefront, which is one of our best assets right now besides the people of Kenosha. We lost a lot of industry in this town, so we have to make it up somewhere. If we can beautify the downtown area, let's go for it and beautify the lakefront. But as it stands right now, I would have to say a no to the trolley extension, only because this is what the people that I've spoken to in my district do not want. And that's the whole idea about me getting elected, is I don't care what my thoughts are, what my gains are. I want to be there to do it for the people that elect me in.
And one more quick question. What are your feelings about the status and success of that ethics committee of the council?
I think the ethics committee is in an infancy right now, and they need time to tweak a few things. Anytime you have somebody new, when I get elected, I'm going to be new. I'm going to have to learn things. Everybody that's gotten elected has had to learn things. These people are trying their best, and I think we do need checks and balances on the elected officials. We can't just let them do whatever they want and misuse their power. And if they do something that is out of the ordinary and is unethical, they need to be called on the carpet about it. I say give the ethics committee time, and things will get tweaked out, and we'll finally have a good little review board there that can take care of checking everybody out.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. That concludes our forum for District 4, where Steve Mitchell is running against the incumbent G. John Ruffalo, who could not be with us tonight. Now we'll turn to the 6th Aldermanic District, where the candidates are Doug Williams and Dave Paff. Dave could not be with us tonight, but Mr. Williams is. So I'm going to ask Mr. Williams to give us his first 1-minute opening statement.
Hi there. My name is Doug Williams, running for alderman in the 6th District. This is actually my second run in running for alderman. I did run previously 2 years ago and decided to give it another shot as after moving, being in a new district, Todd Onstead is going to focus more on the statewide issues, and so he's decided to vacate the seat after this term. I believe that I can do a good job with City Council. I've followed everything that's gone on for the past 2 years, followed where our city tax dollars are going by going to budget meetings, and being on the redevelopment authority, I've learned some of the things of using our tax dollars wisely and trying to make good use of that without increasing costs too much. And there's a lot of other things on top of that, which I'm sure we'll discuss here in just a few minutes. So,
Thank you. Now, what would be your plans for the improvements that you think need to be made, or the elimination of problems that need to be addressed over in your district?
well, in the 6th district, knocking doors, I've talked to a lot of the residents, and depending on which part of the district, there's kind of some specific issues. In the more northern section, there seems to be some truck traffic they're going down streets that aren't necessarily marked as being truck routes. Some of the residents have said that the trucks are going so fast that it's rattling pictures off the wall in their homes. And they've, already addressed, I've talked with Todd Onstead a little bit. He said they have, they're looking into the issues. Some of the things we can do is change, stop signs so that they're not, having so much road to be able to travel so fast, and put up more signs of, posted non-truck routes, trying to work with the businesses in that area of giving good directions to those drivers so that they're not going through the neighborhoods. Another section is basically has kind of said that they've had a higher rate of crime. I started Neighborhood Watch on the 2 blocks in my neighborhood. I want to definitely work with the residents and get more Neighborhood Watch programs started in the neighborhoods. It's a proven thing that when the neighborhood has a little bit of involvement and has a Neighborhood Watch, they give more information to the Kenosha Police Department, which allows them to do a better job of making sure their neighborhoods are safe.
Thank you. What about that report card of Mayor Bosman? How do you feel the mayor has been performing, A through F, and why?
If I had to give an actual letter grade, I would have to give him a B. I've met the mayor, talked to him many times. He's done a lot of good things. There's a lot of great things that he has done for the city. I just feel that sometimes there's not enough information given out to the public of why certain things are being done. And then I think that's where the backlash comes in, is sometimes as people, well, why are we going a certain route? Why are we looking at certain things instead of something else? And I think if more information was out there, it would be a higher grade.
With respect to endorsements, tell us about the endorsements you've received. We noticed that you've been endorsed by the Kenosha News, and your opponent, Mr. Paff, has been endorsed by the Kenosha Labor paper. What do you think about that, and any other endorsements you want to share with us?
Well, I actually just got an email this afternoon from Fair, Wisconsin, that they decided to endorse me as well. Waiting to hear back from Kenosha Kenoshans for Open and Honest. They did endorse me the last time I ran. The endorsements are somewhat important. Basically, the phone call I got from most of the union endorsements was that it was a very close race between myself and my opponent. I'm sure he has a slight advantage of currently being a union member, and I'm a previous union member. My job is no longer a union job, so sometimes that bears a little bit of weight when it comes down to being close of those aspects. But, kind of like the previous speaker said, that sometimes the biggest endorsement you can ever get is the people of your district.
What about the economic revitalization issue for the city and the creation of more jobs in the community? What would you be prepared to do, and what would you advocate to improve the situation for the future?
Well, we've started to make progress. We've got Amazon coming. We've got Kenall moving up here. We've got a number of people that are still proposing and sending emails to the governor to try and get the casino here. If we continue to work and make things easy for businesses to come to Kenosha and work with the city to be able to open their business here in Kenosha, that helps provide more jobs. I've heard a few stories where sometimes the permit process just to open a business in Kenosha can be a challenge on occasion. That if we can streamline those things and make things, for those businesses to come here, that they'll be more apt to work with us. And I, if elected, would encourage any business to call me, and I will work with them as much as possible and try and, hold their hand and, try and get them to come to Kenosha and create more jobs for us.
And quickly, where do you stand on the Ethics Committee? Are you in favor of it? Do you support it? Do you think it's doing the right thing?
Well, I believe that the Ethics Board is somewhat in an infancy stage. If you really think about it, doctors have review boards, lawyers have review boards. We need to have something in place that if somebody has some kind of indiscretion, that there needs to be something done about it. I think what we need to make an improvement of is giving them more guidelines, giving them more structure as far as when they're looking at specific things. When a judge is in a courtroom, he has laws that he can look at and base his decisions on those laws on that way.
Thank you very much. That concludes our section on District 6, where the candidates are Doug Williams and his opponent is Dave Paff. We're going to turn now to District 8 of the aldermanic races, where the candidates are Kevin Mathewson, who could not be with us tonight, and Kurt Wickland, who is. Mr. Wickland, welcome. Let me have your opening statement, please.
Thank you, Len. My name is Kurt Wickland. I'm 22 years now a Kenosha homeowner. This is my first run for public office. I have an engineering degree from a top 5 university. I have years of professional experience working for industry leaders in the R&D laboratory, in computer systems, and in design engineering. I have authored 2 U.S. patents. I'm a qualified Six Sigma Black Belt, the Elite Management Training and Problem Analysis Program. I learned leadership skills early as a high school ROTC cadet. I was captain of the school rifle team. I rose to the rank of cadet major and was named to the highest position of battalion commander. Over the years, I've met and worked with people from all walks of life. I treat people with respect, and that is how people treat me. I know how to build bridges of trust, an essential skill to be an effective alderman. I've been working towards this election for 8 months now. Every passing day, my confidence grows. I am the right candidate for this job. Let's work together to build the best Kenosha we can.
Thank you. Now, let's go back to your district and talk a little bit about what issues are within your district that you would like to address and rectify.
I would just like to take a moment out ahead to answer a question I know I will not be asked, but happy 100-year anniversary to District 8. 1914 was the year that my area, most of it, joined the city of Kenosha, and I see strong parallels between Kenosha's growth since then and the ascendancy of America with the death of the old Europe beginning in World War I.
Well, let's hope we don't secede.
No, I don't think we'll have that kind of conflict, but it is I believe, a significant anniversary. I'd like to see it commemorated sometime this year.
It's a nice idea.
Now, as far as issues in District 8, everyone is going to tell you roads and alleys, and that's the same thing in District 8. Bad roads are epidemic in my district. However, there are some lesser issues that I found a surprising amount of feedback on. I have been knocking on doors for 4 months, and I've passed out over 500 questionnaires hand-delivered door to door. Based on this feedback, I found significant interest in the metro station. It was cold when I was knocking these doors, and people were tired of standing out waiting for their tickets at the metro station. Quite a bit of interest in that. Bus service. If people tell you that no one rides the buses and not interested in mass transit in Kenosha, they are wrong. There's quite a bit of interest in my district, which is a highly residential area. Blight and trash. Now, some of this, I believe, is motivated by the fact all this snow is melting and a bunch of trash is left over, but it's a very valid point. You have to nip it in the bud before it gets bad. Trash is what leads to one bad address, and one bad address is what leads to one bad block. Which brings me to, and then here's one that I thought was quite amusing. Traffic control. There's signs, yield signs, parking signs and stuff, but I found it amusing that the stoplight at 26th Avenue and 75th Street was criticized from people going east, living in the east-west and both the north-south, different reasons, different criticisms about that same stoplight. So these are little issues that come up when you spend time talking door to door. And one thing I'm extremely interested in is starting on April 26th, 1 month from today, I plan to have my first Breakfast Club meeting. Every month, every fourth Saturday of every month, I will host a Breakfast Club meeting with anyone interested in to attend, primarily 8th District residents. This will be a routine exchange of ideas, communication back and forth from residents and the aldermen, because information is the currency of this job.
Thank you. Let's turn to the mayor's performance for the past few years. What's your report card on how the mayor is doing, Mr. Wickland?
I guess you have to give him a B+. maybe an A minus. You have to put everything in context. When he took office, it was the beginning of the economic crash. It was the beginning of the bursting of the real estate bubble. Every city municipality's budget is based highly on the tax levy that put our finances in a terrible crunch. However, if you ask people where we'd be at this point in time back then, they'd probably give you a dismal prediction. But look what happened. We got through it. We did not have mass layoffs. We have retained our institutional knowledge base. This will allow us to expand our fire and police services as well as the other services in town, built upon an experienced cadre that knows this town really well, knows this job really well. We won't be have to add a bunch of rookies all at once. We will maintain the quality service that you have come to expect as we begin this next phase of growth, which is just in today's paper.
With respect to endorsements, I wonder if you'd share some of your endorsements with us. The Kenosha Labor paper endorsed you. The Kenosha News endorsed your opponent, Mr. Mathewson.
Well, endorsements are kind of like the bow on the Christmas present, aren't they? They look nice while they're under the tree, but it's really what's inside that matters in the long run. I'm quite happy to have endorsements from both sides of the political spectrum. This is a nonpartisan position. Virtually every issue that comes before the city is a nonpartisan problem. I like to say a pothole doesn't care if a Republican or a Democrat is filling it. It just matters that it gets done. And as far as my endorsements go, I have strong endorsements from labor. My opponent has some endorsements from the city labor unions. But the one thing I would say in that terms is I'm most happy to have endorsements from both sides of the political article. And just to head off any controversy, those are endorsements from individuals. I have no party endorsements, and I do not want any party endorsements.
With respect to economic revitalization, could you give us any more comments about how you would act in concert with others for the economic revitalization of the city and perhaps areas of your district?
Well, for my area of the district, it comes down to helping small businesses grow. If you look at the Roosevelt Road corridor, it's one of the larger areas of small businesses in the area. And if you look where it terminates at the uptown area and now the new Brass development, if you meld those in, they're not in the district, but they're right on the edge. There's a considerable amount of small business interest in our area. What I would like to do is take the lessons we learned from the BID and from the Lakota revitalization downtown, see how they can be applied to our area. One thing that comes to mind right away is parking. Roosevelt Road does not have great parking facilities, and that probably puts a crimp on certain types of business. And that's probably why you see a lot of walk-up businesses. We have one of the strongest local barbershop and hairdressing areas. It's kind of like back in the days when politics took place, your local your local hair salon or barbershop. We have a lot of local places that you can walk down, get your hair cut by someone who's been doing it for 20 years. But we have to look for some way to make it a little more profitable, draw people from other areas of the city to our business areas too.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wickland. That concludes our section on District 8, where the candidates are Kevin Mathewson, who's not with us tonight, and Kurt Wickland, who was. Now we're going to turn to District 9, where the candidates are Mitchell Pedersen and Keith Rosenberg, the incumbent, who is not with us tonight. So we'll ask Mr. Pedersen for his 1-minute opening statement.
Hi there. My name is Mitchell Peterson. I am running for alderman in the 9th District of Kenosha. I have been born and raised here in Kenosha, graduate of Tremper High School, 2010, and I currently work for my family's business, Mitchell Carpets, which is located in the 9th District. I look forward to working with the citizens of the 9th District to hear all of their needs. I feel we are not currently being represented on City Council at this moment. One of my top goals is to communicate with the residents of the 9th District. I feel that we need to have local meetings where all the constituents can meet together with the alderman. I will have my phone, email, and I would also like to create a District 9 Facebook so we can discuss all district policies at all the time.
Thank you very much. Mr. Peterson, tell us what your plans would be for improving your district, elimination of any specific issues or problems that are bothering your constituents.
Well, I've been told a big problem is traffic and parking in the district. We do have the soccer fields on 89th Street and about 30th Ave. On the weekends, it can be quite busy. There's many kids and families running around, and I feel that we need to focus on that to increase safety, either creating crosswalks or slower speed limits during that time. Another issue, which I have talked to many people about and they agree, the Fire Station 2 does need a fully staffed med unit. Currently, we do not have one, and the closest med unit when there's a call in the 9th District comes from Fire Station 3. Fire Station 3 does have the most calls in the city, which many times it is out. So if we do need medical service, we are calling from other fire stations around town, which is increasing call times. Every single second counts in emergency, and I definitely think we need to add an additional med unit at Fire Station 2.
Thank you. With respect to the mayor's performance, where do you rank the mayor? What's your report card grade for Mayor Bosman, and why?
Well, currently I think he deserves a B. He has done very well at attracting jobs to Kenosha. Kenosha is in the perfect spot. We are right in between Milwaukee and Chicago. We have one of the busiest interstates in the entire country, and I definitely think he's taking the opportunity of our land, and I think it is a great place to grow businesses. We've brought Amazon, Kennel, Myers, Festival Foods has also arrived in Kenosha, and I think we need to grow on that and add more businesses to Kenosha.
With respect to endorsements, please share your additional endorsements with us. I've noticed that the Kenosha News has endorsed you, Mr. Peterson, and the Kenosha Labor has endorsed your opponent. How do you feel about that?
Well, I was also endorsed by the Kenosha Fire Department, or Fire Union, excuse me, as well as the Kenosha Professional Police Association. I feel very honored to receive that endorsement. It is great to have a relationship where you can talk to them about the issues. They work out in the field every single day. I do not. I sell carpet. I know carpet. So it's good to have a contact where I can talk to someone and they know firsthand what needs to be done.
Thank you. Now, with respect to economic revitalization in your district, as it might be appropriate to talk about, and with respect to the city as a whole, what are you prepared to advocate and do to improve the business climate and to get more people at work at decent jobs?
Well, I have firsthand experience going through the permitting process with the city of Kenosha. It can be very inconsistent and tough at sometimes learning which permits you need, at what times, when you need inspections. I would definitely like to meet with the heads of the inspections department and see if there's any way we can streamline the process or cut out any red tape. I know firsthand that we had quite a bit of trouble, and I can only imagine what other businesses have gone through. I believe that we need to expand on adding businesses to Kenosha. Once again, we are in the perfect place, right in between two large cities. The downtown also needs quite a bit of help. It is on the right track. We are adding many businesses down there, as well as many tourist attractions, and I think that can only help.
Thank you. With respect to the much talked about streetcar, either extending the route or creating a new route, what's your position? What are you prepared to advocate and vote for with respect to the streetcar issue?
Well, I just had a resident tell me the other day the trolley or the streetcar is the only vehicle in town not dodging potholes. I think that is that's pretty sad. I think we need to focus on our core services. The trolley does serve a purpose. It is a tourist attraction, but it does go in a big circle. And I think this new route is an even larger circle. I don't think more people will ride it. I think we can use the money to, of course, fix roads, add police and fire. So I think the current trolley proposal is not a good idea, and that's what the residents of the 9th District said as well.
With respect to that ethics committee, what's your observation as to its status and performance? Are you in favor of what it's doing? Would you change it?
Well, it is a new board, and we are still learning every single day. I think we need a fair, balanced board to make sure that everyone gets their fair chance in the ethics committee. I would approve of streamlining the process. I think right now, many times complaints get held up, take anywhere from 6 months to a year. So I'd like to see if there's any way we can streamline that process and have the complaints gone through quickly.
Thank you. That concludes our analysis of the 9th District, where the candidates are incumbent Keith Rosenberg, who couldn't be with us tonight, and Mitchell Peterson, who, of course, just was. like to thank our producer, Steve Brown, Dave Cole, and Jason Rimkus from WGTD 91.1 FM and Kenosha TV, respectively, for helping make this possible to inform all of the voters about what's going on. And I encourage you to get out and vote on April 1st, which is Election Day. If you're watching or listening to this program, you probably don't need to be told, but you might want to tell your friends and relatives, business colleagues, and associates. The polls will be open on Tuesday, April 1st from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. As you know, the Wisconsin voter ID law was held unconstitutional on March 12th of 2012 by a state judge. You can register at the polling place on Election Day. If you want to register at a polling place, you have to bring proof that you reside at your present location. And for purposes of this voter registration, acceptable forms of proof of your residence must include a current and complete name, including both your given name and family name, and also a current and complete residential address, including a numbered street address, if any, and the name of the municipality where you reside. Some of the IDs that are valid for this include a current and valid Wisconsin driver's license, a current and valid Wisconsin identification card, any other ID if issued by a Wisconsin governmental body or unit, an ID issued by an employer in the normal course of business and bearing a photo of the card holder. Of course, this doesn't include a regular business card. Might be a real estate tax bill or receipt for the current year or the year preceding the date of the election. And for a full list of this information, you can go to the Kenosha County and Kenosha City websites for all the details on where you can vote and all the information you might need. Well, now we're going to resume and ask for candidates for the 10th District to speak to us. For the 10th District, we have the incumbent, Anthony Kennedy, with us, and the challenger, Alex Shahida. Welcome, gentlemen, and I'm going to turn to Mr. Kennedy for his 1-minute opening statement. Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you very much, Len. First of all, I want to thank you for the invite. I want to thank Kenosha Community Media for all the work that they do in producing local television. My name is Anthony Kennedy. I'm the alderman of the 10th District, been the alderman since 2008. While alderman in the 10th District, one of the things that we've done is to help reduce blight. We've brought economic development to this city. I am proud of the fact that when we took over, this city took some hits, and yet we're still standing. We've made investments in public safety. We've made investments in the quality of life for all our citizens, and especially for the citizens of the 10th District. The 10th District is a very interesting district in the fact that it's made up of a couple of different neighborhoods. I like to talk about 29th Avenue, where I live, single-family homes, 36th Avenue, 37th Avenue, a lot of multi-tenant units. And then we have this area that's bisected by Summers over on 47th, right behind Bullen School. Very diverse district, very diverse area.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you.
Mr. Shahida, your opening statement, please.
Len, I want to say thank you for having us today. Also, a little about me. I've been in Kenosha for about 19 years. I currently have a bachelor's in science and business and management, and I've built a house in the 10th District and reside there. The reason I decided to run is the same reason why my family moved up here 20 years ago. It's because of the beautiful structure, the amazing schools, the amazing lakefront opportunity, and now that I currently am married and have a kid on the way, would love to show that for my family.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, let's take that idea of improvement of your district seriously and talk about that. What is going on in the 10th District that needs to be rectified, improved, good things to be enhanced, bad things to be eliminated? We'll start with Mr. Shahida.
The major things that have been going on, as our current representative talks about, is he's been elected since 2008, and the roads have not gotten any better. 39th Ave and 45th Street between potholes have just gotten worse and worse and worse. You know, it's getting to a point of when I walk the district and I ask for people, when they want to sell their house, they say, my house could be beautiful, but at the end of my driveway I have a pothole. How is somebody going to buy it when they come in and out every day hitting that pothole? That's not my responsibility. There's different issues that are going on in the district that have not been touched. We need somebody that's willing to advocate and fight for the 10th District.
Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you. We have some commercial areas that we have to pay attention to the commercial redevelopment of the Walmart. That's a very important area, the old Walmart. We also have some residential areas that need to be continued on the redevelopment, particularly 36th, 37th Avenue. When we talk about roads in the 10th District, when we talk about infrastructure, we are always repairing those things that need to be repaired, and those things that need to be restored, there's a process in place, and 39th Avenue, it will be restored. It's in the CIP. It's going to get done.
What's the CIP?
The capital improvement plan. And that's something that got done without a lot of fighting, without a lot of screaming, without a lot of tension. It's part of a process. The process works. 39th Avenue will be done.
All right, let's talk a little bit about that Walmart building, which was certainly in the papers this week. Mr. Shaheda, what do you think about that Walmart building turning it into a warehouse, according to one report?
I'm open to anything that is going to come to bring businesses, bring people, to bring safety to the neighborhood. You know, I've not looked at any proposal or have not seen anything that's willing to come in. Anything that's willing to come in to bring jobs, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Kenosha has to offer and what we can do to help them improve our community.
Mr. Kennedy, you said that you didn't see any mileage in having a storage building on 52nd Street.
If there's going to be a large item storage facility at the old Walmart, it has to fit into the community in a way that works well. It would have to be bermed, it would have to be fenced, it has to have, so it would not be an eyesore and you just see a bunch of large trucks and things like that parked on 52nd Street. It was an idea that was pushed forward by the owner. He never submitted any plans. My job as an alderman of the district is to be a steward for not only the district now, but the district in the future, and make sure what does come in there fits well with our neighborhood. The immediate challenge is to make sure that when we see anything with that empty unit now, is to make sure it gets reported and make sure it gets fixed. As much as it bothered me that Walmart moved out, Walmart was a great ex-tenant. As soon as there was a problem over there, you notified them, they came over, painted the different things, picked up the trash, etc. Now that we don't have that on-site active stewardship of that particular property, it's our job to make sure that the thing doesn't run down.
What about the relationship with the mayor and the mayor's performance? You've been on the council for a while, Mr. Kennedy. What's your letter grade for Mayor Bosman?
You know,
and
I
why?
heard you ask that question a few times, and I thought, well, since we're the ones that pass the rules and laws and we're the ones who make the decisions as a legislative body, you're really asking, what did we do? What is the letter grade for us as a council? And if I say the mayor, I'm going to go with an A. If I say the council, I'm going to go with a B. He gets an A for effort. When we talk about what happened when we took over in 2008, gentlemen, we took some hits in this city, but we're still standing and we're moving forward, and I'm proud of that.
Mr. Shaheda, what do you think about the mayor's performance? Where do you grade him?
I give the mayor a B- currently. I think he has great bringing in businesses, bringing in keeping the business growing. But I also give him, on the negative side, the communication. There needs to be an open and honest communication throughout the board. There's been many issues that have gone up that we don't know both sides. We don't know anything. There's been stuff behind the tables or under the tables, or it's not been reported properly. So that's why I give him a B-.
Let's talk about your endorsements now. Mr. Kennedy has been endorsed by both the Kenosha Labor paper, or the Labor paper, covers more than Kenosha now, and also by the Kenosha News. Perhaps you would both share with us other endorsements and your feelings about those endorsements. We'll start with Mr. Shaheda.
I've been currently endorsed by the Firefighters 414. I've been also endorsed by the Police Board of Directors and the South Shore Realtors Association. I've been very happy to work with them, see their day-to-day, what they're looking for, and what we can do to try to make this community keep on growing. I'm very glad with my endorsements.
Mr. Kennedy, how about those endorsements, sir?
Thank you. I've been endorsed by the AFL-CIO Labor Council, by the UAW, by the ASME, and Fair Wisconsin. I've also been endorsed by our current mayor. When we talk about endorsements, we talk about who's going to help us with our vision to lead our district. And when we talk about what kinds of things that these endorsements bring, what do they bring? Well, when we talk about the UAW, for example, I have a large number of UAW retirees in the 10th District. It means a lot for me that the people who helped build this community, the people who helped make this community, have invested in me, their vision, their trust to continue to watch our neighborhood and to continue to grow our neighborhood. I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of Fair Wisconsin. I am proud of the fact that we brought same-sex benefit partners to the city of Kenosha. I'm extremely proud of that. I'm proud to take these endorsements, and I'm proud that they've invested their time and their vision into my leadership. Thank you.
With respect to economic revitalization, both in your district, the 10th district, and the city as a whole, what are you prepared to advocate and support in order to get more and better jobs and more businesses performing well? Mr. Kennedy?
When we talk about the 10th district, we're really looking at the as far as a business portion of it, making sure 52nd Avenue continues to be a vital economic development area. Walmart is anchoring that. When we talk about what we do for our city, one of the things I think is important is continuous investments in those things that increase or maintain the quality of life, so that Kenosha becomes a vibrant place that people want to come to. So that, yes, we put Amazon in the column, we put Kennel in the column, we've put those kinds of places. But what are the next places that want to come in here? They want to come here because we've made these investments in economic development, we've made these investments in public safety, we've made these investments in these quality of life issues that make Kenosha a great place to live.
Clang, clang. Mr. Shaheda.
This is
One of the gave him a chance to answer the question.
I agree with Kennedy. It's great. I would love to do investments for quality of life. I would love to do investments that we don't always have to increase taxes, so when businesses come in and they want to buy a house, they don't have to live in Racine or a different community. Currently, our Mr. Kennedy has voted to increase taxes since 2008 every year. There has been different things that we need to do to not increase or to increase the quality of life, but not increase quality of taxes and going in that direction. I look at it in my job. I can't just go to my boss every 6 months and say, hey, gas is at $4 a gallon. I need a raise. Taxes are going to go up 1.5%. I need another raise. You know, it goes in back and forth. I would love to invest into quality of life for the city. That's what I'm looking for.
With respect to that ethics committee, where do you folks feel that that's going? Is it going in the right direction? Should it be reformed? Does it need to be reined in? Is it doing the right thing? What's your evaluation, Mr. Shaheda?
I think the ethics committee, I think we always have to have an open and honest government. I think that we need somebody that shows against us, that look to make sure that everybody's on the same page and making sure that everybody's doing everything ethically. I also think it's very new, and there needs to be a little bit more restrictions and a little bit going on the direction to see where we need to go. Currently, I think it's a growing stage.
Mr. Kennedy?
Thank you. We've created the ethics committee. Let them do their work. Let's step back. It's there. Let them do their job. I think it's a great thing. And as far as it growing, as far as it being in its infancy, all that, there's some truth to that. But we created this commission. It's been staffed. Let them do their work. Let's step away from it.
With respect to the streetcar expansion downtown and other parts of the community, where do you stand on that, Mr. Kennedy, and why?
So we talk about, I've raised taxes every time since 2008, okay? And here we have an opportunity to put $2 million on the table and get $10 million in benefit to our city. You talk about the fact that I raise taxes every year that I've been in office, and I'm not going to argue that. That's absolutely true. We've made these investments because we've had to pay for these things that improve our community or better our community. When we talk about the streetcar, I put up $2 million. I get $8 million for it. I've told my constituents that's a deal I'll do all day. We have to make sure it stays within our budget. But again, I got $10 million that's going to be spent in my city that's going to help improve my city. That's a deal I'll do all day. Having said that, if it goes to referendum, I'll listen to my constituents. But you hired me to do the hard job. You've hired me to make the hard choices. And I think that when we talk about continued investments in our city, $10 million, $8 million of it from the federal government is really hard to walk away from.
Mr. Shaheda, your response?
I agree with Kennedy to a point. I think if you put $2 million, you get $10 million out. That's great, but the maintenance, the the maintenance on it is we're not going to get the $10 million or $2 million back on us. The current plan, the way it is, to go back into another loop is not going to do anything for us. Let's take the $2 million, put it to give us more firefighters that we're looking for, give us more police that we're looking for, give us to where we need to be. We're a growing community with Amazon coming in, with Keno going in, with maybe the casino coming in. We need to go ahead of that and making sure we have enough safety in public for it.
Thank you. And that concludes our candidates for District 10, Anthony Kennedy, the incumbent, and Alex Shaheda, the challenger. Now we're going to turn to the 11th Aldermanic District, where the candidates are Dino Marchinsky, who can't be with us tonight, and Scott Gordon, who is the incumbent. Welcome, Mr. Gordon, and I invite you to make your 1-minute opening statement, please.
Thanks, Len. I'm Scott Gordon. I live at 5204 46th Avenue in Kenosha. I'm a 20-year resident of this city. I'm completing my first term as the 11th District Alderman and hopefully moving on to a second term. I thoroughly enjoy my position as an alderman. I love getting out in the community. I love working with my residents in my district, working through whatever issues it may be. I'm very, very happy with what I'm doing and hopefully be able to continue it for 2 years more.
Thank you very much. Now, let's talk specifically about what's going on in your district, what things might need to be enhanced there, and what problems might need to be addressed. What are you prepared to do to help your district in the next term if you're reelected?
Well, we could start where we've gone in the first 2 years, and that's 9 new businesses opening up in the 11th district. And most of these businesses they're small, the mom and pops, a few employees. Our district is pretty unique. We have businesses on 52nd Avenue, some business over on the 60th Street corridor, and in the middle, it's primarily residential. And the businesses are opening up. We don't have very many empty buildings in our district. So that's the good part. Sure, roads, we all could use a pothole fixed here and there. That's just not unique to my district or a district on the south side or a district on the west side. We all have got potholes. We all got big potholes. So hopefully when spring comes, we can get those fixed and we can move on from there. I have a unique district. I have the McKinley area, which is an older area, and then we go all the way up to the western end of it by Green Bay Road where there's some apartments, and then there's some regular one-family houses in the middle. Each of the areas has their own set of issues and concerns with the city, and I really enjoy working with all 3 of those neighborhoods.
Thank you. You've been observing the mayor and, of course, your colleagues up close for some time now. What's your report card on Mayor Bosman and why?
Well, I have to agree with what Anthony Kennedy just said. The mayor's report card really relies on what we do as a council. If you go back to the council before I sat on, you would probably ask that question, the mayor would get a CC minus because nothing got done. There was a lot of obstructionists on that council, people that didn't want to work with the mayor. Well, 2 years ago, the tides turned a little, and you had a council that was open to work with the mayor and open to ideas. And so now I'd say he gets an AA minus for what he's doing with the council.
Thank you. With respect to endorsements, you've been endorsed by both the Labor paper and the Kenosha News. Imagine you're pretty happy about that. Any other endorsements you want to share with us?
Sure.
Or things you want to tell about those endorsements?
Sure. Endorsed by the AFL-CIO. That's the whole body of the AFL-CIO labor. That's all the members, and the UAW CAP and the Kenosha Education Association, AFSCME People Wisconsin, Fair Wisconsin, Kenosha News Today. I do have the support of Mayor Bosman. I'm very pleased with the labor aspect of it. It's something that I take very humbly. When you get endorsed by a group, you got to live up to it. You got to live up to the endorsements, or they won't come talk to you the next time around. So I'm very honored to have these endorsements.
Thank you. With respect to economic revitalization in your district and in the city, what are you going to advocate in the future? What are your plans and ideas to improve the business climate and get better jobs?
Well, in our district, we're pretty tight as far as any kind of economic development coming in. I have that little area of the Chrysler property, the strip of parking on the west side of 30th Avenue. It's going to be a long time before that gets developed. From a citywide point, I feel like we're a geyser about to explode. We are so close to opening up this city when Amazon comes in and the thousands of jobs, when Kennel comes in, when Myers opens up. when if we get this casino, everything will just mushroom. There'll be new housing developments. There'll be new hotels. We are so close to this city really getting on the map for all the right reasons.
Thank you. The bad news about Amazon is that I had to pay sales tax when I bought toner for my printer just last week, but otherwise I'm happy with it. With respect to that streetcar issue, some people call it the trolley. I call it the streetcar, technically. With respect to a new route or extension of the current route, where do you come down and why, Mr. Gordon?
Well, that actually, going out knocking on doors, I get over 50% of the time when I speak with constituents, what's your take on a streetcar? And I ask the question to my constituents, what's your take on a streetcar? This is an issue that I really feel will come down to a referendum. And I think if it does come down to a referendum, my personal view on it becomes completely irrelevant. If the voters of the district take the time to go out and express their opinion on that, then I will vote according to my district's votes on that.
Thank you. You've been observing the Ethics Committee up close. What's your take on the Ethics Committee, if you care to comment on it?
Sure, I can tell you up close and personal, having sat there with 4 ethics complaints that were placed against me, all of which have been dismissed. I think the Ethics Committee really has their work cut out for them. The rules, they're still trying to figure out how things get done. I do have a problem with third-party complaints. If somebody has to file an ethics complaint and somebody else files it on their behalf, it kind of murkies the water. I also have a problem if an elected official is going to file a complaint on an elected official, maybe that one needs to go to a different party, whether it's a law enforcement organization or something, and that takes really all, in my opinion, all the politics out of it. And that's how I feel about the Ethics Committee.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gordon. That concludes our work with the 11th Aldermanic District, where Mr. Gordon is the incumbent, and his challenger, who couldn't be with us tonight, is Dino Marchesini. Now let's turn to the 14th Aldermanic District, where the candidates are Daniel Prozanski Jr., the incumbent, and his challenger is Donald Duba, who could not be with us this evening. Welcome, Mr. Prozanski, and could we have your opening 1 minute, please? Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Len, for inviting us and hosting this wonderful event. I think that, local media has such a role in local government, and I think that it's a wonderful opportunity for the citizens of Kenosha. I'm Daniel Prozanski. I have been alderman for the 14th District since 2008. Was elected with that freshman class with several of the people that are here today, along with Mayor Bosman. I started doing this because I've always kind of embedded in my students that the form of government that you're closest to is your local government. And the kids right away, they know who the president is, they know who the vice president is, and they know even some congressmen. But they struggle when it comes to local government. And I preach, if I preach one thing, I preach this, is that so much more of their lives are going to be impacted by local government. So I had to kind of put my money where my mouth was and run.
Well, thank you. That's a great story. Now, with respect to your district specifically, could you tell us what things need to be enhanced or problems eliminated?
I think the 14th District has had a lot of good things happen to it already, but there's always room for growth. One of the things that we have is we have a building now that's unoccupied now that SuperValue moved and Festival Foods has bought and built a new building. So things like those situations pop up. What do you do with now this abandoned at this point building? What businesses are going to be attracted to it? How do you create a climate to attract good businesses there? Do we have the infrastructure that's needed to have somebody come in and say, we want to locate here in this location? So I think that keeping those things up to par and working towards enhancing the infrastructure is going to draw good businesses and keep property values up.
With respect to the performance of Mayor Bosman, how do you evaluate that and why?
You asked the teacher to give a grade.
That's right.
Yeah. I think it all depends on how we measure. I think that all of us, and I'm including myself as far as the group that came in 2008 along with Mayor Bosman, there's a huge learning curve to the job. And, I think that as time has gone on, both council and Mayor Bosman, people that have been here for a while, as you've learned how government works and learned the intricacies of government, as Mayor Bosman has done, so he's improved too. So I'd give Mayor Bosman an A-. I think that the work that he's done to bring in and attract new businesses is, as previous people have spoken about, is just sort of waiting to flower, and I think that Kenosha will be a great benefit for Kenosha.
My former classmate would be very happy if he were running to have all these great high letter grades tonight. Tell us about your endorsements. The AFL Central Labor Council, a labor paper, has endorsed you. Kenosha News has endorsed you. How do you feel about that, and why? And any other endorsements you want to share with us?
Sure. I take all the endorsements I get very seriously. I think that you're really humbled when you get that letter from somebody saying, our organization has the faith and endorsed you. It's really a humbling experience, and it really, like has also been said before, it makes you aware that people are concerned and watching what's going on in council. So, the KEA, a member of which I'm a member of, has endorsed me. That's special to me because I'm a member of that organization. The AFL-CIO, I appreciate their endorsements. UAW CAP Council, Kenosha Professional Police Association, Labor Paper, Kenosha News, they all hold a special place in my heart. So I'm very happy to have received those.
You touched on economic issues and the buildings, the old Super Value and the new Festival Foods. You want to tell us a little bit more about what you would advocate in the future and what you'd be prepared to support in terms of economic revitalization and better jobs?
Sure. I think that when businesses want to locate in Kenosha, they're looking for stability. They're looking for consistency. They want to make sure that they know the rules of the game, and they want to make sure that the rules are clear. They don't want a lot of acrimony going on when it comes to city council. They want to be able to know that their process that they have to follow is set and it's not going to change on them. Businesses don't like that. They like to have that consistency. They don't want to know the rules, and they're willing to play by the rules as long as they're clear. So I think making sure that there's a consistent plan in place that is going to attract those businesses and keep the changes at council at a minimum.
With respect to the streetcar extension and proposed new routes, where are you thinking we should go on that?
Yeah, it's interesting how that came about. The Lakota group talked about this expansion in their downtown plan, and I don't think anybody on council necessarily cooked up an expansion for the streetcar. I think that the plan has merit. I think the other ideas that have come out with a possible loop to Carthage have merit. I think where we're at now is looking at the dollars and making sure that the amount of investment that we have to put out and the potential return that we're going to get are going to work out. Could there be other investment that we could use with that $2 million that the city has to contribute to this? Possibly. So I think that we're at the infancy stage still in determining what plan works out best and how the city can get the best for their buck.
And with respect to that ethics committee, what's your evaluation?
Well, I'm one of those people that don't know it intimately. I can say that the ethics committee is only in the news right now because there's no shortage of people filing ethics complaints. So the ethics committee is again the learning curve that they're treading new water and coming through and it's there's some bumps in the road, and I think that if city council can simply do their jobs and not micromanage and their job be big policy decisions, make those and not micromanage, I think that the ethics committee will have a lot less customers.
Well, thank you. That concludes our discussion of the 14th Aldermanic District. Dan Prozanski is the incumbent, and his challenger, who couldn't be here tonight, is Donald Duba. Thank you very much. Now we're going to turn to the 15th Aldermanic District, where the candidates are Gabe Nudo, who's not here tonight, and Jack Rose, who is. So for the 15th District, Mr. Rose, could I have your opening statement, please?
Thank you, Len. My name is Jack Rose. I was born and raised in Kenosha. Graduate of 64 of Kenosha Bradford High School. Went on to the Naval Academy, spent 26 years in the Navy, retired as a Navy captain. Worked for 2 years with the 96 Olympics. My wife and I moved back to Kenosha, back to our hometown in 1996. We've had about 18 years here, and I'm looking forward to having an opportunity to serve in public office. This is my first time that I've put my oar in the water on this, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. Let's talk about your district now, the 15th district, and what would you do to enhance things in your district, eliminate problems? What have you identified that needs to occupy your attention for your constituents?
Well, I think like the other candidates up here, we've all been out knocking on doors, and the 15th district is about 3,000 folks. We've got about 2,200 parcels, and it's primarily residential, single homeowners, a couple of duplexes, no large complexes. We have small businesses associated in the district, and so the big thing is to represent these folks. And what I'm hearing now and walking around, it's the middle of winter, and so you've got the potholes, as everybody talked about. You've got the roads, you've got the snow plows. And I think at the end of the day, everybody has really, the services for the city have really stepped up in the bad winter that we've had. I think a thing to keep in mind when we're talking about the roads in the 15th, last year we put a huge effort in 39th Avenue going south. When something like that happens, it takes a long time, it disrupts the flow, it disrupts the citizens, but we need to communicate that this is happening and it's improving things in the long run. In this coming year, we've got an expansion on 60th Street going west. So at that time, it's going to impact the residents along that street. It's going to be better at the end. It's going to have an impact on the small businesses. And so we really need to do our best to communicate with our residents that this is coming down the pipe. In talking with the small businesses, and I've heard it up here before, I've heard it from other candidates, but I think we really need to work on getting a one-stop shop as far as small businesses coming to the community, and I think it will really help. It's fantastic that we're bringing in the large companies, and this is beautiful. It's going to increase the tax base, but we can't forget about the small businesses.
Thank you. What's your report card on Mayor Bosman in the past few years, or how do you see his leadership?
I would give the mayor an A, and I echo the comments that were said. We're a crew trying to keep the ship on course here in Kenosha. We've got the Common Council, we've got the administration, we've got the mayor. We all need to be pulling on the line in the same direction, and to do that, you need to be able to communicate and collaborate and trying to keep your eye on the target and get some stuff done.
Now, you've done pretty well with endorsements from the Central Labor Council and the Kenosha News. Do you want to tell us a little bit about any other endorsements you have and how you feel about those?
No, I think endorsements are important, and especially I'm very humbled. I'm the new guy on the block. I'm putting my oar in the water here for the first time. But I think at the end of the day, the real test of the pudding is going to be on the 1st of April. I appreciate the endorsements, but I'm here to represent the residents of the 15th.
Thank you. Mr. Rose, can you talk a little bit more about economic revitalization in your district and in the city as a whole? What are you prepared to vote for? What are you prepared to advocate? What are you prepared to do to improve jobs, to improve businesses' success?
Well, I think we need to continue to build. It's a prime time right now with the companies that are coming in, and I think we need to work on the infrastructure and work on the services, work on the safety and security to give these folks a new home and a great place to live and work in Kenosha. And we need to go forward on that. I think another thing that nobody's really talked about tonight, and I think that is the homeless in Kenosha. And going back to 2006, this was something that was started. We really haven't done that much. And God bless the INS program, because there the homeless people go from church to church, but they're getting it done. And also the likes of First Step. But I think we really need to come together and try to do something in our community for the homeless population.
Thank you. And let's just give the streetcar a nod. What are your feelings about that streetcar route? Should it go one way or another or not at all? Where do you stand?
At the end of the day, talking to the residents of the 15th, probably the most unsolicited comment that I got concerned the streetcar or the trolley. And people are not in favor of it right now. We have one that's already installed. We need to work with that, and we need to try to do the best we can with it. With respect to the new route, I think this is still a work in progress. I've heard the 10 million, 2 from the city, 8 from the feds, but we still haven't got a route that's going to comply within that budget. So I think it's still early on, and I think we need to do due diligence and see what comes out.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. That concludes our talk about the 15th Aldermanic District, where Jack Rose is being challenged by Gabe Nudo, who couldn't be with us tonight. And for our final race this evening, we're going to turn to the 16th Aldermanic District, where the contest is between the incumbent, Jesse Downing, who is with us tonight, and Bob Johnson, who had hoped to be with us but evidently is not going to make it, who is the challenger. So, Mr. Downing, welcome, and could I have your opening 1-minute statement, please?
Thank you, Len. My name's Jesse Downing. I've been the current alderman for the 16th District since 2000. I've been on the city council. I've worked through situations of the closing of Chrysler, the destruction or demolition of Chrysler, to the development on the west side of town. I've answered my constituents' calls, emails. When they try to get a hold of me, they call a number. That number's my cell phone number. They can get a hold of me 24/7, and some of them do. I think I have the proven record as the best candidate for the 16th District. My record stands for itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, let's go into the details of your district, Mr. Downing. What needs to be enhanced? What problems do you need to address for your constituents if you are reelected in the coming term? What will you do to help your constituents?
We have a couple issues out there. We have roads, but what people have to understand is the roads in our district bounder other district or other municipalities. We have Summers, we have Pleasant Prairie. A majority of our problems with our subdivisions are the roads that border other communities. Those are being addressed. Those take time. It's just not something where you can call the city administration and say, hey, we need a road fixed here. There's a lot of times in my district I have to call the town of Summers to get potholes filled. I'll continue to do that. The other things is the development that's going on the west side of town. Kenosha is not growing east. We're not going to grow into Lake Michigan. All the growth for Kenosha is coming to the west. The administration, myself, we're out there aggressively going after these businesses. We're not waiting for them to come to Kenosha. We're going out to get them.
Now, can we talk a little bit about? Did I ask you about the report card for the mayor yet? No, I didn't.
No, you did not.
Let me get your grade. You ran against the mayor a couple years ago, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Are you're not doing it again in the future, are you?
It's not election time yet.
Oh, you're not going to tell us.
2016 is election time.
Oh, well, I thought maybe we could get an early statement from you.
And in 2015, we'll decide.
Well, what's your report card today on the mayor?
My report card today would probably be a B minus. I think in the last 2 years, communication has gotten better. Is it great? No, but it's better than what it was. The communication amongst the common council, too, is getting better. Although there's still a few situations where things will be going on in the city and we find out about it by reading the paper or hearing it on the radio. I mean, it's nice to get a phone call. I think in the last 2 years, Mayor Bosman and myself have been in communication very well.
Good. Thank you. Now, you've been endorsed by the Kenosha FFLCO Central Labor Council But your opponent, Bob Johnson, was endorsed with a very lengthy article by the Kenosha News. How do you feel about those endorsements, and are there other favorable endorsements that you'd like to share with us, Mr. Downing?
Yeah, the other endorsements I got were Professional Firefighters 414, Kenosha Police Department, Board of Directors, AFL-CIO, UAW, ASME, Farrell, Wisconsin, Southeastern Realtors Association. This is the first time in my 7 terms that I've been endorsed by these individuals, and I take their endorsement with pride. I'm out there knocking on doors. This is the second hardest election I ever worked for.
Well, thank you. I wonder if you'd like to give us some more information about where you see economic revitalization efforts going. What does the council need to do, perhaps in concert with other organizations and bodies and governmental entities, to keep businesses coming and to get more and more better jobs here in town?
I think with the administration, council, the county, CABA, we all have to work together. And it can't just be one individual taking ownership over a project. We all share in bringing these businesses into Kenosha, and we have to continue to do that. We worked with the state on bringing Amazon in here. We worked with the county. We worked with CABA. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people only know what they read in the paper or hear on the radio. They don't look into what work is being done behind the scene. And there's a lot of work being done behind the scenes on the west end of town.
With respect to the streetcar, what's going to be your position on this? It's sort of in abeyance for a while. We're going to have some plans come back. Where do you think we need to go with the streetcar, Mr. Downing?
We need to go somewhere where it's within budget. You hear that right now, the 3 proposals, none of them are within budget. I don't personally have a problem with it going out to Carthage and coming in, because I think it's going to bring people into the downtown area, and that's exactly what we need to do. We don't need another circle with the trolley. We need it to go somewhere to bring people in, to transport people around. And I think if we can get it to go to college, or to Carthage College, I can support it. A few residents that I've talked to about the trolley on the far west end of town, mixed reviews, saying, why do we need it? We need other things out here more important. In the mid-section of my district, they don't care one way or the other, whether we have it or not, as long as it's useful. And that's the same thing I've been telling them. I don't have a problem with it either, as long as it's useful.
Finally, I'd like to ask you about your observations on the Ethics Commission or Committee. How do you think it's been performing? Are there problems with it? You think we ought to continue it? How do you evaluate it?
I think it's work in progress. Do I support some of the members on the committee? Absolutely not. And I made that known to the administration. Do I think they're doing a good job for what they have right now? Absolutely. It's work in progress. As long as there is our guidelines for them, it'll be fine.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Downing, who's the incumbent for the 16th Aldermanic District. His opponent, Bob Johnson, was teaching and couldn't make it here tonight. I want to thank all of our candidates for being a part of this forum. It's very important that we all get a chance to hear from the candidates as often as possible, to see them, to hear them, to listen to their ideas, and get their viewpoints before we go to vote. And we will be voting on Tuesday, April 1st. I encourage everyone to get out and vote. And to find the information you need, or to encourage your friends to get that information, you can go to the City and the County of Kenosha websites and get all the information you need, and it's also going to be carried in the Kenosha News. I want to thank Kenosha Community Television and WGTD, my colleagues Steve Brown and David Cole at WGTD, and Jason Rimkus, who's the director and manager of Kenosha Community Media, for their participation in bringing this program to you tonight. I hope you will tune in and listen to the rebroadcast, and invite your friends and neighbors to do so also. For WGTD and Kenosha Community Media, this is Len Iaquinta. Good night.